Okay, so as I'm working as a teacher in China, I think it's maybe a good idea to make a video about education, the education system in China, maybe the differences between what goes on in the West and what goes on in China. So I'm here with one of my colleagues who's also a teacher at the school I work at, and we're going to discuss education. So here's Devin. So say hello, Devin.
Hello everyone, I am Devin. Now I'm 29 years old, so
Yeah.
I would like to share some ideas about education in China.
Okay, great. So yeah, let's start. So Devin, give me a breakdown of your education, your full education. So you went to, did you go to kindergarten or?
Actually, when I was young, I didn't go to the kindergarten because when I was in my age, that group of kids that didn't receive that kind of education. We only went to accept the primary school education, the basic educations in China that time, and also I didn't receive any higher education. So I just self-learning by myself. Yes, and also I want to say something, talk about some basic education system in China. Actually, it depends. It divided into several stages. First one just like basic education, like primary school, kindergarten, and also the middle school or senior high, something, and also it's technical school and training, like all kinds of training school, and also including the higher education school like universities, and the last one is about 8 hours education. That means for different stage of people you can receive all kinds of educations, like if you don't know the words, maybe you can learn, you get yourself trained. So, and also I want to say now China's education situation is getting better. Yes, the government is taking emphasis, improving our education, phenomenon now. So it's getting better.
Is that in the rural areas as well, or is that just in the larger cities like Shanghai? Because you're from quite a rural area, right?
Yeah,
you're from the
course.
countryside. So obviously the school that you went to when you was younger, that would be very different to a primary school in Shanghai, right?
Yeah, of course. It's a big. Actually, now it's the gap between the big cities or the countryside. These two areas, the gap is getting narrow. It's getting
smaller, right?
Yes, yeah, of course, and not like that big. But actually, the situations now is still, it's a difference. For the countryside people, the kids receive the basic education. But for the country's big city, the kids who are living in a big city, their parents received or perceived the more advanced education concept. So they will send their kids to different kinds of interest class, right? And they even get their kids, early childhood education, and they actually it's slightly changed. Not their parents force their children; they just encourage their students to choose something they like. So I think it's a big change for China's education now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what age do you start primary school?
You mean how old?
How old? Yeah.
Primary school when I was 8. They're
Okay.
quite late, right?
Yeah, I think in England we started about 6.
6.
Yeah.
Right? But I live far away from the big city, in the countryside, and people just said, okay, we got a prejudice for girls at that
Right.
time, and maybe all the parents maybe
So they wanted more girls?
Yeah,
Right.
keep the attitudes that for girls maybe you cannot even go to school or accept the education. But for boys, my parents at that time already emphasized or realized the importance of education.
Yeah.
So my parents just forced me to go to school. I have to obey my parents' order. Yeah.
Okay. So after primary school, you went to a middle school in the same area, or you moved away, or where did you go to middle school? Was that a local school again?
After primary school, I will go to the junior high.
Right.
I will spend, primary school spent me 5 years. 5 years, and nowadays maybe 6 years. And then I spent another 3 more years in the junior high, and then I will go to another stage. It's called senior high. and I will spend another 3 years. Probably it will altogether maybe 11 or 12 years. That's for the basic education in China.
In China, they have a compulsory education of 9 years, is it?
Yeah.
Like you have to go to school
Yeah,
for
you
9
have
years,
to.
like a minimum, is that
Yeah,
right?
of course, yes. That's
Yeah.
compulsory school,
Yeah,
the
okay.
education.
Okay, so you go to the high school, and then what age are you when you finish? Is that junior high school, did you say, or high school?
Junior highs.
So
Sorry.
we have it totally different in England. We have primary school, and then in my town we have primary school, middle school, upper school, and then college, and then university. But that's rare in
You mean
England.
after senior high school, right? What kind of
Senior
stage?
high school, right? Yeah.
After senior high schools, you got a change. If you can score enough, then you can get a step into a better university. You can choose.
So you go. You just have primary school, junior high school, and then university. Just
Yeah.
2 schools before university.
Yes, of course,
okay.
yeah. So after that, I failed for the high examination. So I will, my parents strongly supported me to do the further education. So I choose to study by myself. So this is called self-learning system for the people who don't want to drop themselves from school. They want to keep learning or do the further education. So I will choose this way. Now I think, for my English, actually, I did not receive any professional education. I just learned by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't officially go to university,
Yeah.
no?
No. So yeah.
So when you say you learn English, how did you go about learning English? Did you have classes? Did you?
Yeah.
Your English is like, of all the teachers at the school, your English is probably the best. It's up there in the top
thank
3
you.
easily. So I mean, how did you learn English so good without any education?
Yeah, speaking of learning English, I think it's only the passion, support me or push me to keep going, because I didn't receive any professional education then. So I just figuring out what can I do, because this is my dream. I love this is some things I'm mad about. So I just trying on my best, like traditional ways, reading newspaper, or even listen to the video, or even watch the English movie or this very traditional ways. And also I want to talk to myself or choose a topic for myself, and then whisper or talking like a kind of silly or insane persons, walking down the street and talk to myself all the time. Just like that. So and also I want to talk about some situations for the children now, like the children for the adult students, what they are facing with nowadays.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, because with the competition, fierce competition, so because China is developing very fast, right? Especially parents now choose different kinds of interest class for their children. Although they are not force their kids to do this, but it also puts some pressures on their kids, especially for the kids living.
They are really forcing them.
Yeah,
I mean, they're little kids, they can't really say no, right?
Yeah, so the kids has to obey their parents or like arrangement, and also it's kind of traditional ways, like you have to do this, you have to do that. Although parents said it's good for you, it's good for you, all right. So this is the kids nowadays. They lost their time for playing with their playmates like this, and also for the situations in middle age. The kids, the kids, they will face with the test, all kinds of tests. They have to deal with all kinds of tests, because the parents are always telling you this school is very important. It's good for the future. You have to do more preparation for it, so you got to spend more time on it. So the kids always, carrying books or doing all kinds of training class to cater into their parents' demands, right? And also when you get into the university, actually not like that. I mean, for the students, they will spend more time playing like video games, like dating each other, and they will, for example, in China university, it divided into 3 years, 4 years, and 5 years. It depends on your major and also the level of university. For students, they will spend 1, 2, or 3, even 3 years for paying. They don't know what should I do? What do they want?
It's the same in England. Like people go to university and they just drink and party for 3 years. Like,
of course.
I don't see the
and
reason
seldom
to do it.
people, they seldom kids they will trying on their best to figure out what do they want or something.
I think it's a good idea to go to university if you want to be a doctor, but people go there just because they don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
And is it the same in China? They just go to university because they think they have to?
Yeah, they have to, and also they think this is kind of a target I complete.
Yeah.
Then this is all I have. This is
now I
something
can continue with my life and do what I
to
think
enjoy,
I need to do.
relax, because in the senior high they really took a lot of pressures for getting into this university. So all the kids, when after they get the certificates or got the informants that you can go to the university, they're gonna spend a lot of time cheering or even celebrating for their accomplishment or something like that. So it will. I think this is the situation gotta be have to change.
Yeah. Okay. Let me think. So do you know how much it costs to go to university?
Oh yeah,
China?
I know. For my girlfriend who received high education, so every year so you gotta pay for 5,000. It depends.
Is that for accommodation or just the university?
Just for the
education.
Education, yes, like the book fee, tuition, something like this.
Tuition,
Tuitions like this, and it also depends on the school's level. If the school is staying in a high level, and it will cost you less. But if the schools arranged, it's organized by the personal enterprise, right? It will cost you a lot.
Right.
Yes, much more. Maybe 2,000 more, compared with the ordinary.
So the private schools are the better ones? Is that what you're saying?
No, not like that.
So why is it more
not
expensive?
private school is better one. Not like the Western country people. Not like the Western or American school. Like the private maybe is much better. But for China, it's not like that because it's for how can I say?
It's just money. They don't really care about the education.
Yeah.
They just want to.
Yes, it's the personal educations. I think I don't think all those personal enterprise running that school is not very good. I think not very good. It costs you more money.
Yeah. So why do people choose to go to these schools then if they're just expensive and not very good?
Oh, that's a good question because
is it like reputation
for China,
just to go to an expensive school?
Yeah, with the competition, and also it's from the parents' psychological realizations because they think nowadays if their children do not receive any high education, their kids are gonna lose the it's called straight line. They don't want their kids to lose their lay behind compared with others.
Is that true though? Do you think in China if you don't have a degree, you don't have a degree and you're doing the same job as other people with a degree. You're a really good teacher, so it hasn't affected you in any way, right?
Actually, at the first stage, people will think you got a good certificate, you got a golden brick to knock down the door, stand in front of you. And all the people keep their mind. Maybe that kind of bring them the sense of security.
Yeah.
Actually not. After you get a job, actually as long as you can find for yourself, as long as you can think. Always constantly think about yourself. Actually for China, a lot of people, they are, very successful, but they didn't receive any higher, very good education.
Right.
That I got a lot of many cases about that.
Yeah.
So
it's the same in the West, It's down to it doesn't matter what education you have, it's what you do, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So that's so cheap. 5,000 a year,
yeah,
did you
course.
say?
That's much cheaper.
In England it costs you, now they changed it in 2012, it now costs 90,000 RMB.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
Do you think it's worth it? A year? That's a year. That's just education.
Just 1 year, right?
Yeah. My cousin goes to university in London. She pays 9,000 a year, and then she pays 10,000 a month for accommodation.
Oh my, that's quite a lot.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's not crazy.
Okay, so what did you think about your teachers at your primary schools and junior high schools? Were Like there's a
Okay.
when I picture Chinese teachers in my mind, I think very strict, very like if you talk, they're gonna be very angry. Is that true?
Actually, when I was young, the image, the teacher's image in my mind, very very strict. They, when I was in primary school, grade 1, and the male teachers always holding a stick.
Yeah.
Oh yes, holding a stick very long, and we were like this, and walking into the classroom, and with a very strict face, and then slapping to the table, knock on the table, and every kid just staying silent, and not like nowadays. We teach kids how to be good, right?
Yeah.
Yes, use the words, and then I still remember when I was in junior high, grade 1, and there was a woman, a female teacher, that and did something wrong. Maybe it's not a big mistake. Then he just made every kids line up in front of a stage, and then use the hands to slap on your face. Yes, very fierce. I still remember. I received that treatment a lot of times. Actually, for me, I'm a good teacher. I'm a good student. I was a good student. But I always received that treatment from the teacher. But at that time, I think from the parents and also from the kids' view, that's quite normal, because teacher just for your good. They teach you how to be a better person. But right now, because the government emphasizes on the teacher's behavior, it's illegal if you do that right now. So teachers right now, also about the internet. If you're doing something wrong or violence behavior for the children, then it will exposure on the internet, and then all the people can search for you. So nowadays, I think the education atmosphere now in China is getting better, and seldom see the people very strict to the teachers and fine for their children. So never gonna happen.
Okay, good. So do you think your teachers were good, or do you think they're a lot better now?
Not a lot better now. For example, for the higher education student or teachers in high school, right, or even the universities, I think the teachers are humors or care about the children's interaction with the children. Yes, I think they're quite good, and it's much better. It's not like old days, always, teachers' violence, cases reported like that. It's not like it's getting better.
Okay. So we're both teachers at a training center, right?
Yeah.
So a training center is extracurricular. Do you know extracurricular?
Actually,
do you know the word? Extracurricular. It means it's extra education. So they don't have to do it. It's not like the government make them do it. It's their parents pay extra money for them to do it. So you didn't go to a school like that when you was younger?
No,
though?
never.
And what do you think are the good things and bad things about schools like ours, like training centers? Do you think they're good? What's good? What's bad? What needs to change?
Actually, for me, from my point of view, we cannot say it's good or not, because it's developed. It's kind of phenomenon nowadays. It caters to the society phenomenon. It caters to society needs, right? Because people, for example, take English for example. Now, why many parents send their children get themselves trained? Why? Because they realize it's a trend that is necessary for their sending their children to get to learn to get their English improved, because it's normalizations, and also more and more foreigners are gonna come here, and more people gonna need English to communicate. Also have to do the business, right? That's quite necessary. We cannot criticize the parents. This is bad things or it's not good for children. But I want to say it's not. I want to say something to the parents, right? Don't force your kids to do something they don't like. You can encourage them to choose something. Maybe they can do it much better. Like this. This is something it's good, and you can enjoy. Yes, when you have the class, if the children are suffering from this, and you still force your children to do this, I think we can use the word bad, to describe it.
I think when it's the weekend, like it's the weekend now, and there's the students there all day, Saturday and Sunday, and then I think they go to school all week, and then they come to us Saturday and Sunday, and I just think you know, they're not happy. They're really, you can see that they're not happy, and they just want to be outside with their friends. I don't think that's very good
This
for them, right?
phenomenon now in China is just like this. Parents and students, they will squeeze the time together, like the winter holiday, like the summer holiday, and then they will plan a trip, like to go to other countries. And then they think this is a treat for their kids,
Right.
And then so you're gonna study. And every parents, after they go home, they focus on their work, and they can actually they spend less and less time with their kids.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why parents send more kids to the training school, because
So
they
they can
got
do what
they
they
got
want.
no time for you know.
Yeah.
So and also we can say it's kind of the sense of security.
They know that they're safe, right?
Yeah.
And they're learning English at the same time.
Make
So,
themselves feel safe.
So do you think there's too much pressure for them? Like when they're 15 years old, do you think there's too much pressure for them to do very well, get into a good university, everything like this? Do you think there's too much pressure, or do you think there's? What do you
I think it depends on the kids. You know, after they grow up and when they look back, what did the parents do for them? Maybe they will not think, you know, it's kind of a lot of pressure to sacrifice my childhood. I think it depends on the kid, and we cannot always say this is so harsh on the kids, right?
Yeah.
We cannot say it because
Maybe they really want to learn.
Yeah, because you know, for some kids in my class, they enjoy speaking English. They enjoy the accomplishment, the values, the something. Yeah, I think maybe it depends. Yeah, maybe for some kids, they first they don't want to accept the education, right? They want to play all the time, but later and later, you find out they grow up. They accept this situation. So we cannot, you know, point the finger at the parents, say this is not right. We cannot send the kids, you know, receive so many kind of like that. So I think as long as parents respect their children, within a certain degree, that's acceptable.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's pretty much all I have to ask you. Unless you have anything else to say, or
maybe next time, yes, we can share another topic. Maybe next
cool.
time. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you very much.
Hope you can learn.
Okay.